Starting out the new year, we are finally seeing some relief on inflation, but a worsening situation in the Red Sea is threatening to drive prices on some essentials up again. Attacks on tanker ships in Yemen-based Houthi rebels are forcing companies to divert cargo vessels away from the Suez Canal and traveling instead around Africa's southern tip. It's a move that adds about a week to each journey, along with millions of dollars in fuel costs. Some experts are saying that could double the price of oil over the next few weeks. Joining us for a look at what it means for us here in Canada is Jeff Rubin. He's the former chief economist at CIBC World Markets. Good morning.
Good morning.
So Canada does not operate many of the ships that pass through the Red Sea, but we do rely on suppliers who use those routes. So how could we feel the effects of these attacks?
Well, this is one of the largest trade routes in the world. It's not just oil, it's everyone from Amazon to IKEA to Walmart whose supply chains use that route. And as you've pointed out, it adds about, say, for a cargo from Mumbai, India to London, it adds about 5,000 miles or 8,200 kilometers to the journey. And of course, time and fuel add to costs. So we've seen freight costs skyrocket since these attacks have begun. The standard freight on a 40-foot container has more than doubled to about $4,000, and many shippers have announced a $6,000 rate to go into effect later this month. And as we saw during the pandemic, when we also saw huge increases in freight costs, invariably these increases in freight costs, as dramatic as they are, percolate up the supply chain and are ultimately borne by consumers. And, we saw some of the highest inflation rates that we had seen in about 4 decades.
I remember that time during the pandemic, and people who had ordered things, even like couches, were waiting, months in order for them to arrive because of supply chain issues. Let's go back to oil for a moment. About 9 million barrels of oil passed through the Suez Canal each day in the first half of 2023. That's according to the U.S. Energy Information Administration. So that is more than triple the rate of 2021. Why is so much more oil flowing through there now?
Well, the reason for that is largely because of Western sanctions against Russian oil. Russia is, as you know, a major oil exporter, and exports that had traditionally gone to Western Europe and even the United States, which imported almost 1 million barrels a day of oil from Russia, have instead been diverted to India and China, and hence the cargoes have gone through this route. So certainly in the last 2 years, this region has become far more important for petroleum trade than it has been in the past.
Inflation rates, we know, are finally coming down, but when can we expect to see some of those cost increases coming as a result of what's happening in the Red Sea?
I think fairly quickly, and I think we're going to find that the respite that we've had from these decades-high inflation rates could be very short-lived. And again, we're not just talking the price of oil, we're basically talking the price of everything. Now, there's an even greater risk when we talk about oil, that if this conflict keeps escalating, and just yesterday there was another attempted attack in defiance of U.S. threats of retaliation, if this should involve not just Iran's proxies like Hezbollah and the Houthis, but Iran itself, and the Straits of Hormuz gets closed, well, that's a different ballgame. That's about a third of all global LNG trade and about a quarter of all oil trade. That would be something more akin to like the OPEC oil shocks of the 1970s.
They were looking for the world's attention, and they certainly got it. Jeff Rubin, thanks for joining us this morning.
My pleasure. Take care.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked this, be sure to subscribe here, or you can check out more Your Morning videos right here.